Okay, what is welcome back to the Planet MEW podcast. I have been a bit MIA for a while. Sorry, that was a bit quiet. Getting better at this editing shit. Yeah, I've been a bit MIA. Been started back at uni again, and I have been really into Bitcoin. Just complete down a rabbit hole with that, and actually been working on it. So yeah, I've been kind of focused on that, and I've learned not to force the podcast if it's like not coming through me. But I've also realized I really have to make sure that I separate time for myself and prioritize it and my art in general. So we're back. Today's just a bulletin. It's just like kind of updated thoughts in some previous podcasts. Should be a short one, but I also want to talk about some breakthrough that I've had recently. Probably the biggest breakthrough, and that is about victimhood. So like recently I've been winning, like so much in my life is just going good. I feel like I've conquered so many demons. They've just like lost their power over me. Like there's just so much more cohesion internally between me and my different parts and selves. And I just feel good. I just feel happy. I just feel grateful. And then like other things have been getting better, like my physical health. Like I've been exercising again. Like my psychologist told me I'm in remission for depression. And I can feel it because I'm exercising again. And I have a newfound respect for people who were like depressed. Like everyone just tells you just like go for a walk, you'll feel better. It's like, bitch, when you're at that level, you cannot even get up off the floor. Like go for a walk, shut the fuck up. Like, and it's just interesting how much I realized how just my complete motivation. I've always loved exercise, but like for like 2 years, it was just nothing there. And like, you know, I didn't pressure myself, even though I gained like 20 kilos. I was just like, yeah, like I'm just here. And now I'm actually like went to the track, did some sprints, fucking got a punching bag, just been going ham on it, running, like, yeah, just been feeling really good, making a bit of money doing Bitcoin. So it's like, just like a lot of things have just been like really good. And then something went wrong. Something really kind of disappointing happened that really just deflated me. And I was kind of like laying in my bed, feeling sorry for myself. And like all my thoughts just started going straight into victim mode. Like, why me? Why can't I just catch a break? Why is it when I start being happy, something pulls me down? Why can't I have financial stability? Why is it always up and down? You know, why do I have something good just to lose it? And I was kind of just like watching those thoughts this time, and I kind of thought, like, no, like, I don't want to be that anymore. Like, I don't particularly think I've been that victimhood. Like I do consider myself like a fucking like survivor and a fighter and all that. But like I definitely have tendencies to fall into victimhood. And I think for a couple of reasons. I think firstly, like I think that at periods of time in my life, I've kind of wanted to be poor me because I wanted people to like look at me and like really see that I was struggling. I kind of wanted to, I don't want to say exaggerate my struggles, but just amplify them or shine a light on them so that people around me would kind of see that I was struggling. And like, I just wanted people to look at me. I think part of my victimhood was kind of attention seeking in a way. I think my problems were valid, but I needed someone else to like help me or save me or some shit. I don't know. And I think secondly, like there's this, I don't know, some kind of fucked up joy that comes from like feeling sorry for yourself. Like, I don't know. And then like in that moment when I was trying to like tap into that victimhood, I just thought, you know what, like no matter how fucked up good it might feel to feel like sorry for myself, it's nothing compared to the feeling of winning. Like I feel so good that I'm on top of my life right now and that things are going great and that I'm winning, that I just thought, nah, I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what, like no. And then like the thing ended up working itself out, which I feel sometimes like is almost a reward, like when you kind of do that or that happens. But it made me think about it, and I realized that I think the truth is that like my default was to fall into victimhood thinking because I kind of didn't have any other examples. Like I didn't have this feeling before of like what winning felt like. I didn't know what it felt like until it started happening. And then it was like I had two different paths that I could choose from, the victimhood or the winning. But it was hard to materialize that winning path out of nowhere. And so like whenever something would go wrong, I would just fall into my default that I've only known, I think. And then, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not that I haven't been winning in my life before, I think as well. Like I haven't been in a place mentally where I've actually appreciated and shown gratitude for the ways in which I have been winning in the past as well. So yeah, that's what I think about victimhood. So the first previous podcast that I'm going to touch on is the Save the World complex. So from my trip report, I think what I've noticed is I spoke about how I've realized that a part of my complex to save the world, I think there's actually another thing that come up. I think part of me just wants to save people and help them, because I think on my personal journey, I felt so completely alone and lost, and I felt very much like I've had zero guidance, and I've had to guide myself out every single step of the way. And I think that's because my journey has looked so different to everybody else's that I know. I think it's growing up with autism, and just even if I had have had support, parents, best friend, psychologists, I feel like they haven't understood what it's like to be me and how to get out. So I think that's part of why I kind of scream my journey loud and proud from the mountaintops, is because I always just think about me 5 years ago that I want to help. And I think I'm still kind of doing that duty by even having this podcast. I think I'm always going to be I consider myself an investigative reporter of the soul, and just kind of putting the shit out as I go and not looking back anymore. But I've also realized that I actually don't think that, in the last podcast I said that I think a lot of I'm not done grieving yet, and I'm not done healing yet. And at the time I thought that was related to my sexual assault, but I actually don't think it is. I actually think that the grief that I still hold in my heart is from this feeling of not being good enough. And I've been very aware of that feeling for a long time. And yeah, it's just, I think that's the part of me that makes me feel kind of defeated and defeat and despair. And I think it's because on the one hand, I just never reached my own perfectionist expectations, but I actually think a lot of that has to do with growing up with autism and not knowing it. And that's what my psychologist thinks as well, because I've spoken to her about all this, and she said I think it's time for you to really go through that, the trauma of how you've been rejected your whole life. And yeah, that's what we're working on now. And that kind of ties into my previous podcast about resentment, because I've had some thoughts about that as well. And I've realized that there's a common link with all of the people that I resent, and the common link is that they all gave up on me. At some stage, I feel like they all at some point lost faith in me, either decided that I wasn't a good person, wanted to believe the worst in me, or they just left me behind. And I think that really has triggered into my feeling of not being good enough. And I think that's why the people that I resent, I hold on to that resentment, because I still haven't let go of that grief. I'm still grieving it. And so that's what I've been really working on, and kind of thinking about that. And it's just interesting what's been coming through. One of the people that I held resentment for this, just wrote a song about it, because how else to process grief than to do art or be creative. So I wrote a song, and then I played my own song, and I went to the punching bag, and I just went psycho, for 20 minutes, just punching the shit out of this punching bag. And I'm I've got rage. And it's anger is the second stage of grief, right? So I've just got anger. I've got some anger, and I'm okay, I'm getting it out. And I've got to tell you, that actually really helped. I really enjoyed that. I actually fucked my wrist. So I've got some wrist guards coming in the mail. I've got weak wrists, so they'll help keep my wrist protected. And something else on the resentment theme is something that I said in the podcast was, there's something so frustrating about when a person disrespects you and gets away with it. And I've realized that it's I feel like it's my job to teach someone. If someone's a cunt to me on the street, I feel like it's my job to teach them. I have to teach them right from wrong. I have to teach them that's an unacceptable thing. Because if someone is an asshole to me on the street, I'll give it back to them, or I'll do something in my head to teach them. And I think that's a similar thing with resentment. If I feel like they just got away with it, if I just kind of move on with my life. And it's it's not just that, but it's the fact that they're not going to learn, and they're going to keep doing it again. And that comes back to that kind of complex of saving the world, right? It's not my fucking job to save the world. It's not my job to teach people. And so I've kind of let that go. I've realized that I just have to let that go. If someone's an asshole to me on the street, I can just smile at them. I don't know if I'll actually do that. Let's put that in my we'll set that as a goal. All right, I've been thinking about boundaries, and I've realized the perfect example of someone who is a good person but has no boundaries is Ned Flanders. Like, he's a perfect example. Like, that's what happens if you're a good person, you have no boundaries. And look at him when like his like house blew down and like how angry he was. Like, discomfort leads to resentment. So, yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's it for today. Yeah. I am you, and this is the journey of setting yourself free.